Hey everybody, figured I'd start early. Everything's, for once, in place. Very shocking. We just got back the BDT cruise that ended yesterday, and we spent a little time in Seattle, just the day, and had a good time going around. Went to see the Chihuly glass and stuff like that. It was awesome. But today I'm gonna work on minis from the Warhammer Underworlds stuff. I had started on them before I streamed. Before we left, I streamed on Thursday. I talked about things you need to get started painting, and I kind of went a little deep. And I'm probably going to cover a little bit more stuff today. Let me see here. There's like some things that you might want to make your life a little bit easier with painting and stuff like that. I think I showed the Vortex mixer, which is really great, but I will say you should go to the if you get the chance, you should go on the BDT cruise. They're fun. We played a lot of games and ate too much food, and that's what made it fun for me, was the games, because I don't think I would really appreciate doing a cruise, just a cruise, because I'm not that relaxed of a person, as far as it's hard to turn it off. I actually did not want to have the internet because I was worried that I would be too focused on that stuff, and I wasn't too bad, but I had to have it for work. Hold on, somebody wrote something here. I'm from Patagonia, Chile. Awesome. Thanks for joining us, G. Ferreira. We didn't get too wrapped up in, staying in our stateroom or whatever, our room. It was cool. But the Alaska sites were fantastic. We did go on the Mendenhall Glacier thing, which was really fun, and all that stuff. So it was great. But let's cut to the table so I can show you what I got going on. It's still a mess because I didn't actually get. Let me see if I got the right stuff here. Nope. There we go. I didn't have the right stuff because I didn't clean it up because I kind of had to wrap it up. We were not leaving till Monday, but I still had so much to do. I did talk about airbrushes. I don't know if I actually mentioned about pinning. This is an actual pin vise. I don't think I mentioned it. This is what you use to drill. So this is an old one. Has a part where it spins in your hand. You can use your hand pressure to push into the miniature and not gouge your hand up. I mean, this is still kind of pokey, but it does a great job. I mean, I have several pin vices. And then I think I mentioned the Vortex mixer, which is valuable to have. This was one, I've had this one for like 7 years now, maybe. It's been a long time. People they're buying this one a lot. It's a good one. It's small, it's heavy enough to not move around. Problem is, it's now like $100, or at least it was the last time I looked when I was streaming a week and a half ago. They're not that. I paid $70, and I think $70 is okay. But I've seen lots of other options out there now. So maybe look around, look at the reviews. When I bought this, people were not buying it for painting minis. They were using it to stir. Am I not muted? No, I'm not muted. Good, okay. They were using it to shake nail polish, which makes a lot of sense. Let's see, I need some regular glasses. So I showed that. So one of the things I would suggest, so I have some, I'm not sure where they're at. They're in a bottle. So they're from, I think they're AK Interactive. Let's see if they're up here. I think these are them. So these are ones that you can get in a lot of places, stainless steel shakers. I use these. These are great. They're heavy stainless steel ball bearings. They're great to help shake up your paint. Some paints include a shaker inside of them. Pro Acryl is one that actually includes a shaker inside. These are from Pro Acryl. These are not the ones that they... I mean, I actually haven't emptied a bottle of Pro Acryl yet. But I don't believe these are the ones that are inside the bottles. These are small surgical glass beads. And I usually put 2 of these in. They're pretty inexpensive, you know, like a couple dollars for 50 or something like that, maybe. They're great. I use them all the time. Anytime I open up a bottle of contrast, I just drop 2 of those in there. They help agitate all the pigments, and it's actually pretty important to agitate the pigments on your paint bottles. Now, I actually bought 10 empty bottles from, I don't know where they're at, from Pro Acryl. And I might have shown them on a stream previously. And they included the larger clear glass beads. So that's what they have, I believe, inside their bottles when you buy them. I would suggest taking those out and cleaning them and using them for the next bottle that you don't have a bead in. Back in the day, I believe Reaper or Raupartha. I have an old bottle of Raupartha here. I don't know. Somebody included like a little skull, a metal skull, which was awesome. You know, like, well, what else would you want inside of a bottle of paint? But I don't know if they still. I don't even know if they still exist. I know Reaper does, but I don't know if Raupartha. I think they're the ones that had it. I never had that many of their paints. I've kind of been a GW Citadel guy for most of my time, but I've tried others, and I mentioned in the stream that I was trying to find the same manufacturer. For a while, they went to France to get their paints made, and then they came back to the UK. So this is the company, HMG Paints, that made their paints back in the day. And then they changed the whole thing up. I don't know if they were back at HMG after the French manufacturer, but they also made stuff in China for a little while, like their base paints maybe, or foundation paints is what I think they called them back then, maybe, can't remember. And they were okay, but I was trying to find the original stuff that I would love to find the French manufacturer. I have no idea who that was. But I found these and these. This was from another company I think that went out of business, called Nitro, and I'm pretty certain these are made, I mean, they're the same bottles. Doesn't mean anything, of course, but I believe these are made in the UK. So, wow, it's weird, it doesn't say. Or maybe it does it from, made in Britain. So I'm pretty sure that these were the same too. So I was trying to find their stuff, you know, find the manufacturer of that stuff. And these are fine. They're good paints. They're good for standard paints. But I have grown to really love the contrast paints. I think they're fantastic. They're, as you can see, a little expensive. But I had this bottle from the day, this is one of the very first bottles I bought, and I have not gotten through it yet. Now, I'm not a voracious painter as much as I'd like to be, but I definitely like to paint, and I feel that you can get a lot of life out of the paints that you have. You know, with those, they'll last you a long time, a good enough time, and you'll cover enough minis. I've painted, you know, a couple hundred minis. What is that? I painted, you know, a couple hundred minis at least with those paints. And, you know, I don't use them for everything. I think this is the wildwood on this fur. And, you know, I thin it down with the contrast medium, so it extends the life of the bottle for sure. I pretty much put, oh wow, I watched, anyway, I'll go on that in a minute. The little tricks you learn. But that definitely extends the life of, oh goodness. Okay. Everybody chatting, getting back to work from the cruise. Oh my gosh. Maybe I should mute this. Yes, you could. Once everybody starts chatting in Slack, it's over. Let's do that. Actually, I could put Do Not Disturb. That's what I should do, because I'm terrible about, where is Do Not, sorry about all this. Goodness gracious, I thought you could do it right here. Ah, whatever, I'll mute it. Oh wait, no, I'm gonna mute it. I think I once again. Anyway, I really like their paints. I think they last a long time, and I think you can get a lot of use out of them. One thing I saw was Peachy is now, he was the one of the Warhammer painters. And you know, he had been in the company for 20 years doing all kinds of stuff. But one thing he did, which I did not know, and I don't subscribe to Warhammer Plus, which I might, you know, at some point in time. But what he did is he put the little paintbrush protector inside here so it prevents the cap from closing, which, holy cow. I ended up poking it all the way back past the little thingy here. There's a little wedge that would hold it open. And this is way better, by the way, way better. I saw that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I wished I'd learned that a long time ago, using these types of bottles, because I've always had it in my way. So that was, I was watching, he's no longer with GW, he is with the painting phase. And I was super excited to see that. The little tricks you learn was great. Let's see here. I'm a little tired. I didn't, we got in at 10, which is totally fine, but you know, I didn't go to sleep right away. But yeah, I really like their paints. I don't think you should buy too many to start off. They don't sell these anymore, sadly. These are the paint holders that help prevent it from tipping over. Since I've had this, I have spilled no paint. I say that confidently, and I'll probably spill paint today if I use it. But yeah, I think you should buy paints as you need them. And then, you know, everybody wants like a starter set, and I understand that. There are starter sets with Army Painter. If you choose to go with Army Painter's speed paints, they have starter sets. They have like a basic one, and then they have a full-on everything paint set. But I don't think that the everything paint set is yet, well, maybe it's, if you bought one now, they might, this new formulation. They've changed their paints a little bit. I never got to use the original batch, and I'm sure they're great. Adam Smasher, Adam Loper, who runs Tabletop Minions, he said they were great. So I was supposed to get some, I was going to try a bit of them, and it didn't happen, which is fine. I have so many minis here in front of me that I need to move them out of the way. I was like trying to, when I was showing stuff that you could paint and things like that, I wanted to have plenty of things to choose from. I also have a blue unpainted mini in here, which he should be put away. Oh yeah, so I trimmed, I got rid of the mold lines here, and I actually need to paint that back up to touch it up for her hair. Now her hair is dark. This is Jessica Jones. And I have not painted her yet, but I will touch that up maybe today. I have a lot of unpainted, I painted quite a few of the Marvel United figures before to be able to have plenty of things to paint. It's one of my problems is when I'm streaming stuff, I forget that I might be running out of stuff. Now, I moved on to these Orcs, the Ironskull's Boyz from Warhammer Underworlds. These were in the very first phase of miniatures that came out. I think you can get all the minis still, but they do not sell this set anymore. They have raised their prices a little bit on the Warhammer Underworlds, and so this one is not, these are not readily available. Let's zoom in a little bit more. I think the camera, I had to reset everything this morning, so I'm amazed that anything's working as it is. Let's see. Okay. One other thing I should check. What else happened? We saw a lot of folks that we hadn't seen for a while. There was a lot of new faces on the cruise, which is exciting. And saw many that we hadn't seen in a long time, which was great. Let me look here. got my other phone set up to do the photo that I want to refer to. So this phone is still in airplane mode. So I'm not connected, but I want to check to see if, wow, this is terrible. But, and then we went to Seattle's pinball, the Pinball Museum, which is just a arcade, a super nice arcade that you can play all their machines. Free play, cost you $20 to get in, but that was really fun. We had a great time with that. And what else did we do? Saw the Chuli glass, which I'd wanted to see previously, but we were kind of a little bit crushed for time. And then we did, I think that's about it. We took the train to the airport, which was awesome. I don't think I'm on the front page. This is a downer. It should have been programmed. I think Scott is out. Oh well, I should get us on the front page. Let me see if I can do that quickly. It's weird. I thought I programmed it all in. I'm pretty certain I did, but who knows. This is the wrong phone to do it on. But yeah, it's been, it was good to be away, and it was good to take it a little bit easy. We watched a movie one night, which was fun. And man, Scott has passed me messages here. And that was good. We definitely needed to chill, needed to relax, because I've been really busy. Nikki's been pretty busy. Let's see if I can go to my favorites here. It's what I get for starting early. I was not ready. Where's my bookmarks? There we go. Yeah, I wish that we could have taken it a little. Actually, so Jeff and Christine, who run BGG Con and run the cruises, they did both. Now, I would not want. I say I would want to do both, but I don't think I really would want to do both because that'd be a lot. Hold on, I'm gonna sneeze. There we go. But yeah, they were on both weeks. So we had 2 weeks on the cruise, and was full both times. The Alaska cruise is very popular, and I don't think I'd really want to do 2 weeks. But I mean, part of me would like to. I really would like to disconnect for a couple weeks. It'd be awesome. What is today? Today is the 11th. But it would be fun. I mean, I think I would have a good time doing all that stuff. Wow, this is all expanded. So we use CMS to do all this programming for the front page. There it is. I'm supposed to be on there. What time is it supposed to start? Maybe turn this sideways. Hey, it's because I'm starting at the wrong time. That would be the problem. So let's change it to whatever we're at now. It's now 10:45. So let's make it 10 something. That's funny. So that's what I was kind of rushing to do. I did it well before I left. So let's see if it goes to the front page. I worked on it. I try to get everything done before I have to leave because I always like to just make sure we have it all together. And I did okay. There was so much, and that's why I had to work on the cruise. We actually had Tabletop Tabletop Tycoon released their latest, a new version. It's a different game, but it's got elements that are similar to the original Everdell. It's called Everdell Far Shore. It looks pretty. It's very good looking, and So hopefully that does well for them, but we had to go live with that while I was on the cruise, and that was a challenge. I don't like working on my laptop or my phone, and had to do both, but that's how it goes. Let's see here. It says it's 10:45. The way this works is pretty great. It definitely works, but I don't know why I scheduled myself for the afternoon. Oh well. But it was a nice ship too. We were on a very nice ship. It was called the Quantum of the Seas. Much bigger than the because we went on the Alaska cruise. They both became states around the same time. Went on the Alaska cruise in '98. That was my first cruise ever, and that was pretty good. You know, I mean, it wasn't as big a boat, but it was cool. I think it was the Explorer of the Seas. And then this one was the, it's set to PM, that is why. Boy, I'm bad. Here, let's change it to AM. Then let's change the time to 10:40, what is it now? 7. Select, update. That is what I get. But yeah, it was good. And I really feel that the board games make it really fun, because the at sea time, what do you do? I'm not into massages or sitting, especially on the Alaskan cruise. I'm not into sitting by the pool. Although, you know, there were people that were doing it, and it was warm, pretty warm in Alaska. We were a little shocked at how warm it ended up being. And they were telling us that they only have 86 days of sun in, well, the person that was telling us was a tour guide, so she doesn't actually live there. Funnily enough, she's from Texas, but she was going to school in Utah. So this was her, let's do something on the final bit of our cruise. Before they get to like working regular jobs and stuff. So it was cool. Okay, so let's get started. But yeah, it's fun to do. We have been on all of the BGG cruises so far since 2018, 98, even before BGG existed. And we will probably do one of the ones next year. There's actually 2 cruises next year. One on the east coast of Canada, starting in New York or something like that, I think. And then one in Europe. We will probably do, Nikki's mother would like to do the European trip with us, so maybe we'll do that one. We'll do it if her mother's going. They actually went with us on the Alaskan cruise. So this is the one Ironskull boy that I was working on. And I used this Bad Moon Yellow, I believe. Let's shake it up a bit. I used this, and you can see it doesn't quite look the same. Now, it's kind of green because of the undercoating. I actually do not mind it. I will probably add a little bit more yellow on top of it to just make it a little stronger. I feel, they should never look super bright, but I don't know the lore, but I feel that even Space Marines armor should be a little bit banged up and dirty, but I'm sure that they polish it up and stuff like that too, but you can't imagine they do it that well, especially if they're fighting as often as they're supposed to be. So I'm going to do the same thing with the war boss here that I guess this is probably Ironskull, that I have. So I want to paint his armor yellow. Let me actually go back to the picture that I have. I definitely use reference. I don't worry about trying to come up with my own schemes. I have, and I've done armies that way where I painted them the way I wanted to paint them. But for these, I just want to get going on them, right? I don't want to spend too much time, particularly with the Marvel United stuff, because I don't know what, wow, it's crazy. I'm looking at the mini. Looks like I'm missing a piece here, though. He's got like a chain tabard. I wonder if that changed. I bet you it did. Chainmail tabard, which is not here. Let me see if it's on the other one. I have 2 of these because I'm painting Scots as well. Yeah. Hey, it's on this one. What the heck? That is confusing. There's no way that that should have come. Well, I don't know if I assembled these. This might be Scott's. I don't think I assembled them though. What color are these guys? They're green. I have to look at the sprues. But that's funny. It's on this one. This one actually had some weird problems. I can see that they're like this cape doesn't work quite the same. Interesting. Anyway, little tabard. Chainmail tabard. Okay, so let's get going on this guy. Interesting. I wonder why that's not there. It might not have got injected. How odd. They usually catch these things, you know, they have like eyes that look at them, you know, electronic eyes, and scope it out. So I think I'm going to go with the yellow strong, since it doesn't seem to make a difference, and maybe it'll be brighter than the previous one. I was joking, it kind of looks like Shrek flesh here, the yellow. But I do like it. I also put basically the version of Agrax Earthshade, I think it was. I think that's what this one is replicating. I like Strong Tone a lot. I use it all the time. And I put that on here, and that's going to make it look, you know, brown. It's going to add a brown tone to it, and you can see it in the seams here on the armor. So that's going to can potentially bring your color down, right? It won't be as bright a yellow. So we'll see. I might try a different little tack for this one. But yeah, this is Scott's Marine, I think. I'm not Marine. Orc. And I think this was, because I have both sets. I have his sets and my sets, I think. Mine are still in the boxes, but I pulled all his out of the sprues. But I don't see the sprues here for this, so maybe I didn't assemble this. I can't imagine Scott did, though. He just doesn't have the time. And I've had these minis for years. I think I got them before the pandemic started, so I did, for sure. So I really want to get them done. I got a lot of them to do of his, so I want to get on them. Let me find my paint holder. I'm not going to knock this stuff down. And I'm going to use my new trick. Hold the bottle open, which is awesome. Really awesome. I don't know why I had never seen that before. There we go. Fantastical. So I'm definitely going to paint this fully with the raw, you know, the straight color. Let's use this brush. I like a number. I'm using, this is some of the Royal and Langnickel's. This is a 4. I think they're good. I actually had a big discussion with Scott Kippen. He's one of our admins on BGG. He does the micro badges. He was on the cruise, and I think he feels you should use Sable. I don't know if he uses Winsor Newton, which I have Winsor Newton paints. I'm just not I don't know. It's hard to advocate using these paints, these brushes that are kind of expensive, right? And there's nothing wrong with it. You should use whatever you. I mean, somebody specifically wrote that they preferred in the comments on YouTube about the last video, that they prefer the Winsor Newtons, and I 100% agree that Winsor Newton paints are great, brushes, excuse me, and paints, but I just feel that I don't want to worry about it, and I honestly get great results from this. Now, Scott was telling me that he has used the same brushes for like 2 years, and you know, for sure, I've used this brush here is the very first one of the Royal Langnickel's that I used, and I haven't used it for 2 years, but I've used it for probably close to a year. I'm not 100% certain when I actually bought these. I can look it up because I bought them, I think, I definitely bought them because I bought 2 bottles of them. I mean, they are these here. I bought 2 of these. It's a crap ton of brushes. I'm actually going to send a friend of mine's daughter a bunch of these. She started painting her minis, so I'm going to send her a bunch and let her have some, you know, they're not terribly expensive and you can get going and not worry about it. But I think they last a pretty long time. Did I do 2 of these? I almost feel like I started a second one, but I don't think I did. I don't see it here. Wait, here it is maybe. No, it's a stirrer. So I've only ever done the one so far. It's getting a little tired. It's got a little bit of a curl, if you can see. Let's see here, the point is not so great. But I'm covering, you know, just armor, so I'm not too worried about it. You know, it's a larger surface to cover, so. But I like using the larger brushes, one of the main reasons, which I mentioned on the stream, because they hold more paint. If your brush is in good shape and you take good care of them, the paint will, you can actually brush for longer because your paint is still in the brush instead of having to go back to the pot constantly. And that is the way I used to paint. I paint with small brushes, and I still do use them. I mean, they're definitely useful. You don't not want to have them. But you can do a lot without having to worry about the brush drying out and the paint. You know, you definitely can just keep working and working without having to keep dipping. It's pretty great. Nikki actually went on another excursion on the cruise. She went on a rainforest hike in Sitka? Yes, because we were, oh no, it was when we were in Ketchikan, because, boy, I wish I could see another miniature of this guy, another photo of this guy. But yeah, she had a good time. She said it was real pretty. I did not, Scott does not like to, he doesn't really want to take time away from the boat too much. So I usually hang out with him. This is Scott Alden, the owner of BGG. And the last cruise that we did in the Caribbean and the Central America was, it was really Central America. I went on one excursion. I went to the pyramids, the Mayan pyramids, and not in the Yucatan, although I think it is part of Yucatan, but another like newer discovered pyramids. Is it Chichen Itza no, is Chichen Itza the one in, because I've been to when I was young, I went to the pyramids in, near Mexico City. And it was awesome. Huh, don't see any other pictures, it's too bad. I would just like to see his legs, but it looks like they're just entirely yellow. So maybe I'll go with that. There's some flesh tone there on his arm. Oh, I did catch that. Now I've got a little bit of green on here. Oh, you can't see it. Got a little bit of green here on the hand, but I'm just going to go over it. I mean, it's going to get covered up with other stuff anyway, and I feel, like I said, I feel the armor is, it's not pristine, right? And I think Orcs like assemble theirs from other, you know, like other armor parts. Wow, that's got some cool stuff going on in it. Freehand stuff that I'll have to try to do. So this is definitely brighter than this one. Harumph. I don't really want to repaint them. I also don't feel they need to exactly match, but it's kind of cool because, you know, they're a unit. So you do want them to be cohesive appearing. Hey, it's Aldi. He's not feeling so good. He got back from the trip. I mean, you know, he probably was burning the candle at both ends. I mean, I did. We definitely stayed up late. The final night of gaming, we were up till midnight, I think, which isn't that late, but it was late, as we had been trying to rest as much as possible, sleeping in a little bit, which was really wonderful because I don't really get to do that too often. I mean, I have a lot of stuff to do here. So this week is the SDJ specials that we do, and I have only edited one of them. Derek is doing the editing, so I am reviewing the edit. I ended up editing last week's episode fully because I was trying to give Derek the room to work on the other projects. We have a big video coming. Hopefully that'll turn out well. Long one. And so I edited the whole thing, and that was fine. I don't mind doing that. And see, I think that's almost feel like that should be bare skin on these legs, but I'm just going to go with the yellow because they're orcs or Orcs. I don't know. I think they're Orcs now or something like that in fantasy. There's a skull there. That's pretty great. Looks like a human skull. And we did have to get up early yesterday. The cruise you get off when you return to port, your starting port, they get you off that boat by 9:15 because they have to clean the entire boat. I mean, you know, they're cleaning the main areas, but they have to clean all the staterooms very quickly. And they did a pretty good job. We did find a bottle of conditioner that had not been cleaned up, but that was no big deal. I felt bad for the person who left it behind because it looked like some sort of custom product. It said the person's name on it. Looks like I forgot part of the cloak over here. Or maybe that's just something else. I did get the green in there. I feel like I guess it's just been too long since I painted it. It's close. The armor will be one of the major things I need to get done. I need to work on the axe some more. I should have painted, there's some other stuff I should have painted black. Or as I've been using, Basilicanum gray. Wow, it is really much brighter. I don't know if I want to dim this down too much. We did go whale watching the final day. We got in late to the final cruise day. We got into Victoria really late. 5 o'clock, I think is when or just before 5, we docked, and then we had to wait a little while to get off the boat, and then we had to immediately go on our excursion, which was on a boat nearby. And wow, this brush is getting a little worn out. So I think this one is, so if you can see it here, I'll show you. Might need to be on something dark. It's got like little spurs going in the wrong direction. And that's just because it's getting tired, right? Wow, it is bright yellow in the water though. I do like this size of brush though, but I think it's getting tired. So there you go. Probably at least 5 or 6 months of use on it. I really wish I remembered when I bought the paints. It was not that long ago. It's probably not a year ago, like I said. It's okay. It still comes to a point, but I don't want it poking at stuff. So I'm going to take another yellow, or orange as that is, and find one. They're all kind of, they're not all perfect. Some of them are not great from the get-go. But most of them, it's 144 brushes, most of them are pretty great. So I have to clean this up. It's got like stuff in it to hold the point when they make it. I mean, that's supposedly great, well-made sable brushes. They align them, they're taking all the bristles and lining them up. I don't imagine they put that much effort into these synthetic ones. Like the curls of them to point together, and or the natural curve of the hairs, the fibers. Hey, that one's got a little hair poking out here. Now something like that, I don't know if you can see it. You really can't against my skin. Let's see if I can do it on this black bottle. So you can see there's one hair that's poking down here. I usually take an X-Acto knife and press it up against the ferrule, and cut it off, because it just drives me crazy. So that was from manufacturing. And that takes it off. So I need to get his thumb. Hey, Josh Jones. Oh, what is that? That off-camera vibrates? I'm sorry, I missed that. It is the Vortex mixer that I'm using. This one is a Lab Genius. I bought it on Amazon like 7 years ago. It's pretty great. It'll shake the paint very quickly, because you really need to, with these contrast paints especially, but all paints really do need to be mixed well. The pigments settle, and you have to really get them stirred up. And so that Vortex mixer does a great job of mixing it up quickly. And like when I've been painting a bunch of stuff at once, I end up kind of like giving myself sort of tennis elbow. Obviously it's not, because it's just short-lived, but and you really do need to mix it well, and I think that it's the best, especially with contrast paints. You want all the pigments to get combined together, and the Vortex mixer. Now this one was $70, I think, at the time I bought it. And when I looked at before I did the stream last week, it said it was over 100. Now, Amazon pricing, it changes all the time. But if you can get it for around 70, then I think it's worth it. But there are others out there. Look at the reviews. And you might even be able to get an industrial Vortex mixer used. Keep an eye out for, obviously on eBay they're going to get bought up. And there are companies that buy them and refurb them, or take new ones and do their own mix on it, paint jobs and stuff like that. Those are not cheap, and they're heavy. This is a little heavy. You want it to be heavy so it doesn't shake on your tabletop, like move off. It has like 6 or 8 rubber feet. 8 rubber feet underneath this one to hold it in place, and it does a pretty good job. But I've seen them for as little as like $30 on Amazon, and if you read the reviews and everybody seems to be of similar mind that they're pretty good, then go for it. It's absolutely worth it. It's not something you have to get if you're starting, but it's but I feel if you're going to really get painting, it's absolutely worth having one. Your arm just gets really worn out shaking a lot of paint, and you really must shake the contrast paints fully before using them, because that's part of what they're doing is they have this whole set pigments levels that, as they settle and dry on your miniature, they give you the dimensional stuff that you're looking for. And GW doesn't sell a shaker, but I just feel if you're painting a lot, it's worth it. Boy, I'm probably gonna have to just go with what I get here. Oh, there, I got it. So this has some like teeth hanging that I'm gonna have to try to paint. So one of the things you might consider doing, which I'm not really good at doing, is not assembling your miniatures right off the bat. Paint the miniature parts of it and then put it together. It's one of the ways that a friend of ours that's part of Annie and Sebastian's painting group, he does that entirely. I think he paints it all separately, or like pieces of stuff that go together, and then like keeps the arms and the shields and stuff like that off. And he pins his whole models too. I mean, he's very, pinning helps make sure that they don't fall apart. It's actually probably a good idea. On these minis, it's not so much. This isn't fragile. Actually, I don't know if he does it on everything. He definitely does it on the Forge World ones that he buys. Or I can't remember what they call it now. It's S something S. But Forge World ones are made differently. Hey! Let me see what that was. It's Trashorama. Hey, Chad. Thank you so much. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for the support. Chad runs our Discord server. If you're not on, Chad will probably put that link in if he can. I think he is an admin. The link to the Discord server. You should join it. I'm not great about being on there, but I should be better about it. I'm just not much of a Discord user, to be honest. But yeah, it's definitely better. The brush is fresher. So I'm not going to toss that other brush. I'm going to save it for other things. I'm going to save it for priming and dry brushing, probably. So I don't feel you need to toss them for at least a while until you really beat them up. Discord, there you go. There's our BG Discord. Join it. I think we're over 10,000 users, which is great. But Chad does a good job of organizing it and trying to keep you guys informed on there. I think I saw that he was having problems with a Twitter aggregator, though, which is a bummer, because he would definitely put Eric's posts, Eric Martin's posts up. But I'm excited to be painting again. I was actually kind of wishing I had some stuff on board. Although we did not, it was very crowded. We did not have a ton of room in the, so when we do the cruise, which I didn't mention any of this, we have a conference room. This one was a little smaller than the others we've had. Scott says it's because there's a tax reason. They don't allow you to do cruises as a business write-off. Like they would get together. I mean, it's funny to me that they wouldn't do that because, going to meet someplace isn't exactly cheap either. But anyway, so they don't have quite the space that he believes that's what the story is. Don't have quite the space at some of the other conference rooms we've had. But we bring like 400 something games that are all chosen by the attendees. So they do a big survey and you can ask for games to be brought from the BG library. And it is great, like having access to all those games. This was like, clearly these folks wanted to play deeper, heavier games. There were so many large boxes, it was crazy. But, and then you can play in that room. It was a little crowded my plan is I wish I could do it this way, is don't eat until the 7:30 dining, 7:30 dining, because then everybody leaves, a lot of people leave for the 5 o'clock dining. And if you did that, then you can play in the room. You start early, you play all day, you cannot give up your table, and then you go in to eat at 7:30 when everybody else is then back at the conference room, and then go to the Windjammer is a cafeteria that closes, I believe, at 9 normally, and they were allowing us to, now this would be different on different cruises, but they allowed us to game in there from 9 to midnight, which was great, because not only is it a lot of space and it's air conditioned really well because it's not filled with people, they also had their drink machine there, so we could get drinks without having to, because it turned out the conference room was considerably far away from the main up elevators or stairs. It wasn't that far, but you know, you're not going to run out and get something to drink unless you had a lot of time. Nikki went off one time to do something. We played a lot of, several times, a game called Paint the Roses, which Scott said he didn't. I misunderstood. I thought he said he didn't like it, but he, I think we were playing the BG copy that was his. It's a game from North Star, and it's a deduction game, which was fun, and it's ridiculously produced. We ended up buying, we're going to try to do it on the show, and we ended up buying the deluxe one, which I don't normally do, but it's buyable, and it was, oops, throwing my, hey, you know what, I should be having this on the base. And we, if you can buy it, then we might feature it. I mean, we used the Quacks bits for Quacks when we did that. I don't remember if we did that on the main video, probably not, but we did when we did the expansion with Deborah, and you know, those are not, but gosh, those bits are so fantastic. And the ones for this game are very similar, really nice. So anyway, yeah, we ordered that on the cruise ship, and it was here the day we returned. So that was cool. There's some interesting things on the ground. Wow, there's some armor here visible, so I need to get in there. Generally, I like to paint inside out, and I'm not doing that here because I don't want it on the other surface. It's really not, initially people were saying you couldn't really touch up when you're doing contrast paints. I don't know if that was just hyperbole, or they were maybe with when you're doing the straight white color it might be harder, but I know that that's not the case, because even then I remember them recommending this. I think Gray Sear was the primer that I used, and I bought that and was able to touch it up if I had a mistake. But I like working inside out because I tend to do a cleaner job that way. Obviously do whatever works for you, but like I would do the faces first. As you can see, I basically did that, and then I did the armor and the fur, but I didn't do the armor, you know, the shoulder pads, or pauldrons, whatever it is. Hey, look at that! I missed some fur. That's a bummer. I got to touch that up. But yeah, you don't have to paint these like the box or whatever shows you, or the suggested stuff. But I like to, because I want to get going. I want to paint this stuff as fast and as much as possible and do as nice a job as I can. And these will look amazing on the table, right? Who wants to, I mean, Warhammer doesn't like you to play with the gray, well, these are green minis, unpainted, but you certainly can, right? It's not, you can play it however you wish, but it definitely looks nicer to have the, wow, that water is the brightest yellow possible. Goodness gracious. I need to thin it out. Do I use my new cleanup brush with that? No, let's just use this one. I really like these. These brushes were great too. They're a little more expensive, from Zem. I got them on eBay, and they're very good, but one of them, that was the ones actually. There's the one I started the second brush. So one of these, I think these are both 4s, yes. They're not wet, so you can't tell with the point. One of them just kind of lasted me forever, and then the second one kind of went bad quickly. So I honestly feel that's my skills. I don't feel it's the brush itself. Then I'm just not that great and that delicate with brushes. This one has a pretty good curl in it. That might be the first one. And then this one had a curl pretty quickly. So I don't know. But they were a couple dollars, $3, $4 maybe, on Amazon, Zem Golden Taklon. I really like them. But I gotta say, these are like 30 cents, 40 cents a piece, and they do a good job. Actually, this is the old brush. Here is the new one. Let's get back to it. I wonder what the deal with that tabard was. Now I need to paint some silver underneath there for that. This looks kind of like a, not a human skull necessarily. I guess it is. Of course, you know, they have to make these to be able to release out of the mold. So there's often going to be some strange stuff. So I'm going to put, I think I'm done with the yellow for now. I'll pull that out, my little tube, the little tube trick that I saw from Dave Peach. But it was great. Such a good idea. I cannot believe I never knew that one. Because they've had these kind of bottles for a while now. And I've really been frustrated with the lids. Now, you know, some people decant them into another paint bottle, the eyedropper bottles. I do not like the ones I got. I bought these, I think, on Amazon, maybe, but Scott Kippen suggested US Plastics has good bottles. You know, 10 cents a bottle, maybe, or something like that. That seems really low. But my problem with these is, I would decant all the paints into this stuff, but you probably can't see, but it's messy. Like, I've cleaned it up, and this is the third dropper nozzle, and it's split. I don't know if you can see it, but they keep splitting, and I'm trying not to overly tighten them. There's a little pokey thing in, you know, to go inside there when the cap is on, but it's completely split, and it's messy. And I think I over tightened that, but it's literally the third one I've gone through, and they just are not doing me that well. Now, others that I haven't opened, I've decanted an old bottle of Lich Purple, and it's doing pretty good. I had one bottle of, yeah, this one here, I think I'm running out, Warlock Purple. I really like Warlock Purple. I don't think there's a 100% equivalent out there. Color-wise. Okay, let's get to some of the gray stuff. Now, how do we do the teeth? They're pretty nasty looking teeth, or claws, I don't know. So that's going to be a little bit of white, and I think I'm going to use not a straight white if I have one. I'm pretty sure I have some bone color ones. This one is literally called Bone. It has been opened. Let's see if it still works. I do not think I have a agitator ball in there, and I probably should have one. So this one here is the one that I said was the manufacturer, same manufacturer as the original stuff. And I think that I don't think I actually said this, but I believe they are manufacturing the GW paints again now. And I think they're really good. But so I was saying how they went to France for a while. They made, from my memory anyway, the best metallics, the French company. I don't know who they are, who they were. Oh, this one's broken, I think. No, it's not. But it's getting old. I've had these bottles for at least 10 years, maybe longer. Wow, it's still there. So these ones seal definitely well compared to the... hey, I wonder if this works for this too. I bet it does. Keeps it out of the way. So there you go. Same little trick. So I'll paint these. Maybe I should use a small brush for this. My problem is I actually don't have a lot of great small brushes anymore. I need some new ones. Just to have a few. Like, this is a delicate paint job that I need to poke in there a little bit, and I don't want a giant brush. This is almost too dark. So I'm going to do a little bit of white first. Maybe I'll mix the two. That's probably what I'll do. Haven't used my palette today. So, I mean, the wet palettes are great. You can go several days and keep reusing the paint. It works for regular paints, not so much for the contrast paints. They do stay on there, but they turn to gel. So that's part of whatever the medium they're using is. Okay, where is the white? It's probably sitting right in front of me. There's the black, coal black. But regular acrylics will last you a good few days in the palette, wet palette, if you chill it, at least for here in Southern California, if you chill it. where you put it in the refrigerator. You don't want to get it too near anything that would freeze it up. Boy, I don't see it. This has got to be here. Do I need another bottle of white just to have another bottle of white? There's bright neutral gray. Oh, there's a metallic medium from them too. I wonder how that is. I bought that, I forgot all about it. So I was showing the other day, yeah, this would be a pretty great bright silver. I use this metallic medium. It looks more metallic than this one, but if you look at them, they're very similar. I use this as the brightest silver and sometimes bright highlights on gold. Just tiny little edge highlighting. It's pretty great. I forgot I bought that one. I bought all of the metallics, I think, that they had in stock anyway at Monument Hobbies. That's who makes the Pro Acryl. If you buy more than a few bottles, I think you get a discount. And Adam has a Smasher, Tabletop Minions has a discount code of 10% for your first order. I think I used that once. I think it's Tabletop Minions, but you should check out his streams. He streams on Mondays and Wednesdays. Excuse me, Mondays and Fridays. Where is the white? I did see a spider in here the other day. Did the spider run off with my bottle of white? Huh. This is terrible. Did I put it someplace else? Oh boy. I need it though, right now. It's my best white. Oh, bottle of white paint. Nikki's out here now. She's moving about. How you feeling?
Fine.
Good. I'm doing good. I can't find the white. It's got to be sitting right here. I see that. I need to specifically look for this bottle. I'm holding up.
See one with white lid.
Yeah, but it's not that. It's going to have the black lid. Boo. Did I put it? Here's the other possibility. I put it in the wrong place. Metallic medium, bright gray, transparent white. That doesn't help me. But yeah, I bought a lot of the metallics. They're metallics. They're gold. They're shiny. Is it bright gold? Rich gold metallic is a good one. It's like one of my favorite colors. I use that on the Stormcast Eternals. Hey, I remembered the name. I can never remember the name of those minis. Stormcast Eternals is their gold, and I really like it. It's very similar to the Retributor gold, which is also a pretty great color. And it is really nice. It's a good color. My favorite was Shining Gold, which I mentioned earlier. Actually, I think I have a bottle of it. This is, no, that's Retributor. I thought I had a bottle of Shining Gold. I did put this in one of these bottles. Shining Gold was amazing. It was my favorite. This was the Shining Gold here. So I think I showed this. I was looking for this the other day. This is me just coming up with my own Craft World colors. I think I was using it thinly, like, you know, thinned down a little bit because I liked what it looked like over black undercoating, and it was great. It was a really great color, and I really liked the paints from GW at the time. Do I add Thunderflux? I do. I do use the bearings. I was showing that earlier. I use these, the stainless steel shakers from AK Interactive, and I also use these, which are much cheaper, from Monument Hobbies. These are glass. They're surgical grade glass. They're obviously not going to corrode, and I put 2 of them in a bottle, and they're fantastic. I use them for most of my contrast paints. Every time I open a bottle, I put 2 glass beads in there. They're great. They're not as heavy, of course, as the stainless steel ones, but I have found, here's the funny thing about me. I feel these get closer to the inside radius of the bottom of the bottle, where the larger ones do not. It's not perfect because I think that's actually it's not super rounded, but that gets, oh my gosh, here's the white sitting right in front of me. That is hilarious. Okay, I showed that earlier. There you go. That's too funny. Did I shake it up? Wow, that is hilarious. It was basically hidden by this. I'm looking over here. I knew I had it down below. I really like the Monument paints. They're not terribly expensive. they give you a lot of paint. How much do they give you? 22 milliliters. That's pretty good. But their white is my favorite white. It's not. I still don't love it. Whites suck, as far as whites and yellows are some of the worst. But it is the best one I found. A lot of people. I've used the Vallejo. It was somebody was saying. It was Peachy, David Peach, on Painting Phase. It's a newer channel started by mostly a bunch of former GW people. Not a bunch, several. It's a small channel. And he was saying it's because the pigments in white are much. Actually, he didn't know this. He was told by somebody in the paint team that the pigment is too large. So if you put it's like basically golf balls to marbles. So if you put like the white in your bottle, and then you put the black, well, they'll get in next to each other. There's that big, they'll fit in between the spaces. The black will. It's that difference in size in the pigment, and so that's probably why it's chalky. So it may always just be bad, right? I may be like looking for something that just can't exist. But peracryls are thinner, like they're not super thick coming out of the bottle, which I actually appreciate. Some people do not like that. Probably too much paint. But I like them because I don't love to thin it. I definitely like the air. That's what I love about the contrast paints, is that they are very fluid, so you don't have to thin them at all. Now, I, of course, use contrast medium to thin them so that they will be dim. The color will be lighter, not as intense. This is fun, like going underneath an item to paint. Like, does my brain do it, process it well? So this has the tops of these poking through here. Hey, that covered up. Boo. It's kind of like a brown strap that's holding these teeth down. I have to figure out how I want to paint that. If I want to do it brown or not. So I don't spend too much. I don't want this to get messy, like trying to put it on the gauntlet here, which I'm doing. But I'm going to ink these, so I'm not too worried about them being perfect. I will be putting a shade on top of it. Probably one of the... Boy, I can't see that. Oh, there we go. See it from that angle. Got a little bit on the axe here, which is a bummer. I use things like toothpicks and stuff to kind of rub off. Probably left it on there too long. It paints dry quickly here. As I said, I was talking to Scott Kippen, and he was saying, he's in Colorado Springs, or no, he's in Colorado and Greeley, I think he said. And it's the paint, because you can't even get it from the bottle to the miniature, it dries so quickly. And I complain about SoCal. We definitely paint does not stay on your brush too long. Don't have a lot of humidity, but we certainly have more than Colorado, especially at higher altitudes. Okay, so that's that. Let me figure out what I want to do for the leather. Maybe I just use snakebite leather. I haven't used it for a little while, so I can close that back up since I'm not doing it. That's a decent paint, still great. I mean, this is a long time ago. I think I bought this 15 years ago, 18 milliliters. Anyway, these were a Dutch company? No. Swedish. I have a lot of their colors still. This is the white. I never even opened it because I was not certain that I would like it. And then there's the Marrow White from P3, and I don't love it. And as you can see, I think P3's paints are made by the same, or at least they were made by the same people. Let's see if they're made in the UK. Doesn't guarantee it, but it's probably. Yeah, I don't know. So that was a pretty decent white. Of course, I was mixing in Proacryl white with that bone color from Nitro. I think I bought some brushes from Nitro too. I wonder if I was buying it as they were blowing it out. Could have been. Okay, some black stuff here, or gray, Basilicanum gray. There should be some of that sitting out, and there is not. Nuln oil. This is the new version of their shades too. I think the new shades are actually okay. Let's see if I have the other one. Let's get the Agrex Earth Shade. Agrex Earth Shade. That needs some shaking. You know what? I don't think I've opened this yet. I did buy the open the Nuln oil. Well, I was one of those people when they announced that they were dumping the paints. I bought as many as I could of the large. That was what was great. Now everything is in these new 18 milliliter bottles, 0.6 fluid ounces. They had larger bottles, so it was it this size? I think it was even a different size than the contrast medium. Boy, I keep moving things and this is not helping. Okay, so there's the contrast medium. I think it's the same size as this. Let's pull one out and see. It's got to be easier though for them to, yeah, this is the same size. So these are 24 milliliters. It's got to be easier for them to just have one bottle size. They do everything, I believe, in the 18s now. I don't know if they do the regular paint. I don't think they do the regular paints. I think they do the shades and the contrast paints in this size, and it makes sense. Now you want that white to dry completely before you put anything on it, and so maybe I'm getting carried away here, jumping at the gun on doing the trying to do the teeth here. But yeah, it gets chalky and it smears all over the place really quickly. So you definitely want to let it go fully. Let's open this up and put some of the beads in there. Okay. Glass beads. Let me make sure. Where did I put them now? Here they are. Two of them. Well, actually, this one probably only needs one. Shades are not as thick as regular paints. Although I don't really need to be frugal with these. I have plenty of them. So you can hear it in there now. So it'll get the stuff off the bottom particularly pretty quickly. As a matter of fact, I'm going to use Basilicanum Gray. So let's see. I think I have it in this one. Yes, I have one. So you can see the bottom of the bottle. There's a lot of pigment there. Nikki, I'm painting the Ironskull's Orcs, Boyz. Ironskull's Boyz. Working on those. I might as well leave that on camera. That's the guy I'm working on right now. So you can see here there's a lot of pigment. I'm going to shake it up. It takes a long while. So shaking this by hand, not so much fun. Still, seems like it's a little lighter. I mean, a little bit removed. So now you can see it's the swirl. So it's shaking that bead around in there and doing a pretty good job. So let's see if we can get it completely mixed up. I'm so tan after my vacation. Yeah, sure. It's opal. Thunderflux, yes, I like the glass ones, and they're not terribly expensive. Yeah, the painting phase has neat interviews. There's a new video from them I saw that came out yesterday of talking about something about the, look at that, it's almost completely mixed in, about contrast paint saving the company. I find that hard to believe, but maybe. I mean, more than the paints themselves, right? It just got people into painting minis and going quicker. So I think I'm gonna paint some black on these little teeth. Embossed armor teeth here that he's got going on too. So there you go. That's pretty darn mixed up, right? It's great. And that's, I mean, it doesn't seem fast, but that's a lot faster than it is when I'm shaking it with my hands. So, or my arm. Let me clean that brush. I just stuck it in my clean water. Hooray, white paint in my clean water. You definitely have to clean the standard paints out relatively quickly. I mean, you can do them at the end of the day. So I use this brush cleaner. It does a really good job of getting the paint out. It actually gets pretty close to the ferrule. I mean, it gets really close to the ferrule. And you can get the paint out. You really don't want the paint to get into the ferrule. It causes your bristles to expand. Now, this is what I've been told. I actually have not had any instances where that has been the case. But who knows? It might have been. And I believe them because the reality is it gets hard in there. I actually cleaned a brush. I don't know if it's in here. This one was one too that had a lot of paint in it. And I actually used alcohol to really break it down. But this is an old brush. I don't even know what type it is. But I have another one that I used that was just terrible, and I finally got it all to clean out. Took a lot of work. You really don't want the paint to get in there. So Opal is in Regina, Canada, and they had an event a couple weeks back where they were going for a world's record with all those inflatable T-Rex suits. And she sent a video of that, and it was pretty crazy. Just tons and tons of folks. I was like, oh, they must have drove the price of inflatable T-Rex outfits up. But it was pretty funny. I think they made the world record, but I sure hope they had Guinness there, because I know how they are fussy. Somebody was trying to do that at one point in time. Oh, I think it was Jennifer. So our friend Jennifer was doing some 24-hour puzzle escape room thingy that they were doing it, and it wasn't her team. I mean, it was their team was there, and they were part of it, trying to make a record for doing continuous escape rooms or something. And I can't remember what they, you have to have the Guinness Book of World Records representative there to verify everything. It can't be just, it's weird, but I'm sure people try to fake it, so that's probably why. One 1,163 suits. Holy cow. So there you go. That was how many people were. And it was, the video is just like a sea of people in those. Now, they weren't all T-Rexes. There were, looked like some Velociraptors and Triceratops and stuff, but it's fantastic. I sure hope they made the award. Sure hope they actually succeeded. $1,163. That is crazy. Nikki loves those darn suits. She wanted to, when they were really popular, wanted to do a be at BGG Con or something like that in a T-Rex suit. That's hilarious. Okay, what is that then? Really does look like that's a blue-black, so I kind of made a mistake, I think, here. Maybe I should put a little bit of another color on top. This is... It doesn't really matter. Shouldn't be stressing about it. Should come out next year. It was so much fun. Well, as you can see, it was around the time that we traveled, so everything gets done at the same time. I was commenting on it the other day that events happen on top of each other nowadays. It's such a drag. We used to get invited to come to the UK Games Expo, but it's the weekend following BGG Spring. We just can't do it. I mean, I would love to go because it's supposed to be a great event. Although we were talking to some British folks and they were saying that the town is not so great. Birmingham is not such a great. Ugh, what a mess. I made a mess. But you know, we've got to bad towns that aren't too exciting beyond the show. Many times, you know, you can get people that run the event can get a probably a pretty decent rate to do it in a town that's not so. I'm not going to criticize any town. I just criticized Birmingham, which I shouldn't. But yeah, I would have liked to have gone to that. I mean, they wanted us to stream from there when we were doing the streaming stuff, which would have been fun. But it just, it's hard. The people that do it, where they just go from convention to convention, I don't know how they can do it. It's just so much work. I'm supposed to buy tickets. We've been waiting to buy tickets for Gen Con, to fly there. We already have tickets and stuff. But we were waiting to see if Scott could go, and he cannot go. So we are buying tickets to go to Gen Con. So we'll be there, and the Hot Games room is going to be running from 10, I believe, a.m. to midnight each day. And there's tickets available, and we're going to have a bunch of the games that are released at the con. They're free to play. If you're going to be at Gen Con, you should consider checking it out. We'll probably be in the Hot Games room in the evenings, but you should say hello. Deborah should be there. She's going to be part of another event this year. Last year, she was just an attendee. We invited her to come along, and her family came, and got the BBs in there, and played a lot of games. It was really fun, and showed her she was excited because Gen Con is more what she's interested in than Comic Con, right? Her husband is way into Comic Con, and so taking her around the hall, she enjoyed it because there were many, many items that she would be interested in, which was funny. But yeah, she's going to be involved in like 4 RPG events, so she's going to be busy. But hey, thanks for the follow, Jimmy the Brush. But yeah, it'd be good. We haven't seen Deborah for a couple months now. It hasn't probably been quite that long, but she had a show that she's involved in that I don't know that I can say what it is. It is not, I will say right now, it is not Marvel related, but they're very excited about it, so hopefully that'll be cool. It'll be cool. So let me put, I guess, a little bit of the Agrax Earthshade on. Nice. We did identify Opal. I did not know exactly which one she would be, and Nikki, I'm just like keep watching. You're going to find it. And immediately she knew who Opal was there. So a T-Rex with high heel boots. That was funny. Hey, it's not in focus. Oh, we also did ride the. We did take the train in Seattle. They have the light rail. We took that to the airport, which was fun, and we were fortunate because today's the final day of the. What do they call it? The. Playoffs. The not the playoffs though, but the. There's a name for this, and it's escaping me. Anyway. The Major League Baseball National League versus the American League, is that right? AL. And what is it? There's a name. It's the. Anyway, so they were there for like the last few days, and the last 2 days were free light rail. So we took the light rail and got to the airport inexpensively, but we also took the monorail from the Space Needle into downtown. That was fun. That was $3.50, I think, each of us to go basically a mile, but it was cool because Disneyland has the same. Well, I don't know if it's any more of the same, but originally it was the Allweg. It was a Swiss company, I believe, that made monorails, and they were put one at Disneyland. I think they also had it at, maybe if I'm recalling, it might have been the People Mover, but they I'm painting the teeth on the other guy. I did not put any shade on him, but that was actually cool, if brief. But the Pinball Museum was in the international market area, the Chinatown and stuff like that. There was, if we'd had time, there was a anime store that I would have. I just don't know enough about the content to actually think about going to look for things, but it would be fun. So what do I do on these teeth? I need to actually brighten them up a little bit now. There's a tongue, orc tongue in there. I need to do some color on that. This guy have no tongue. But that was cool. Okay. This is a big mess. So this is probably one instance where the paints are a little too thin. When I'm using them from the Monument Hobby, on the palette they kind of stay wet, too wet. But I got to tell you, I would prefer the use, like the ability to have these. Be usable and not worry about it on my palette. The problem is, of course, if you're using the wet palette, you're going to mix up your paints are going to get mixed together. So you might want to do a little cleanup before you put the palette away if you're going to have the white on there. Get it off of the palette so it keeps your other paints protected from getting white into them, because white's not great. It's, you can, there's other ways to lighten up, well, if you're using contrast paints, the best way to do it is use the contrast medium. Keeps the color relatively similar. I mean, obviously water will do the job. Okay. I need some ink over that, the Nuln Oil. I need some ink over that chainmail. Oh, Marty Cruz retracted his message. Hey, these are kind of staying open without the little holder. But, good idea. Maybe these are a little too big. I don't know, that's pretty great. Pretty great. Highlight back on those teeth after I put that dark, or the Agrex Earth shade on it. I don't think it's exactly the same color. Maybe it's another color, but I think it's Agrex Earth shade that they're sort of replicating with the strong tone. It is similar, but this is definitely browner in my opinion. Boy, that's just a mess. Whatever I'm doing there, not working. I'm trying to edge highlight, but it is probably coming in from the wrong angle. Did I close up the silicone? I did. Probably need to fix that mess. Okay. I will wait. So let's put a little bit of the white on these teeth. I was thinking now when I had that schedule for me being on it, 4:50, I think I was trying to give myself a break from coming back from the trip, and I was going to stream later, but I was capable. I had it together. I did his eyes red already. What did I use for that? Oh, you know, I think I might have used white then red. And every time I paint eyes, I think of a little short that Nick Murphy did. And it's 100% true. You constantly make a mess with the eyes. I think this is a 0020. I need another 20. Hey, look, there's some green I didn't paint, or yellow. Need to paint it. Missed the part of the thumb. So one of my favorite colors back in the day was a, what was that called? Tin bits. I think Warplock Bronze is kind of that color. Ugh, I'm making a mess over here. It is sort of that color. I loved tin bits. I'm gonna put a little bit on that shoulder pad. I wonder why you got dumped from watching through BGG. Nikki P. She must be at her desk. Move those beads away from there. I think, I'm surprised that Tin Bits would be a name that they would have to, that they couldn't copyright, but maybe because they didn't copyright the color names, because I believe a lot of that color change name stuff they went through, besides reformulating, I know they reformulated, so it's a good reason why the colors didn't match. Wow, I haven't opened this in forever. I'm making a mess too. Let's do the thing here. Got paint on my finger. Anyway, I really love this color, and it's pretty much the same. It's just like a deep copper color, or bronze, I guess is what it's supposed to be. But I'm going to paint this on the shoulder pad, that spike strip, and then probably put some silver. It's sure a cool color. Let's make sure I got it on there, and then I'll do a little bit. So I did here where you can't see it, of course. I did do like 2 different tones where I put shade on this. I think I used strong tone on part of this metal and then some of the Nuln Oil to give it a different shade. Now, one of the things you could do, and maybe I'll do a little bit of that, would be to, I don't want to put that in the palette. A little bit of the bronze there, whatever this color is. Warplock Bronze, that's what the color is now. What was the other one? Tin Bits. That is not working. Too thin. So I'm just putting a little bit of the Warplock Bronze to bring it out as a slightly different color metallic. I don't feel like any paint is going on, but maybe I'm not seeing the right angle here. Sort of dry brushing, but not, and I probably should just dry brush it. Too much. There, that's helping. It's something subtle that you probably won't even notice. So metallics are a challenge. You really want to get the paint. You probably shouldn't use the same brush. Look at that, a lot of paint coming off there. I don't know if I'm doing this right. He might be putting it behind the hinge thingy, because I'm getting paint on there, and that can't be the way to do this. So let me try it one more time without all this paint on it. Here we go. Ooh, a lot of paint on there. I feel like it's going to do it though anyway. Nope. Kind of keeps it away from the bottle, the little spout. Cool, okay. Still a little bit of paint on there. Okay, Warplock Bronze, you're a good color. Okay. And that also might be a fatter tube. But yeah, you want the metallic flakes to get out of the paint. Any colors you're painting. Now, I mean, that's probably only really matters if you're trying to paint competition level stuff, but I don't like having it. I don't like to use it on my palette. I have put it on my palette and ultimately have not had that big of a mess with it. But I'm just a little worried about that. Thinking about Nick again. It's okay. They're so tiny. And these aren't even as small as they get. But come on, red should be easy to do. Maybe put a little bit of shade around it to even it out. Okay, red tongue, or purple tongue. Hey, let's just use some of that Lich purple. I think that's a good one for like Termagants or whatever. Gene Stealers, Tyranids. I don't know what the new version of this is. Wow, see, this is kind of how these are. I don't feel these bottles are great. Or I mean, I bought these, I think I bought them on Amazon. I might have bought them on eBay. But they just go all over the place. Is this split? Doesn't look split though. Oh, maybe at the very tip it is split. So that's what happens. It's not great. It's a great purple though. Oof. Ah, on your phone. I'm gonna dump that because if I don't, I'll have purple everywhere. But it's wasteful because this is a paint that's no longer made. I don't want to spill it all over the place. Okay. So I mix a little white with this, so maybe it'll be okay. Ugh, right on his tooth. Right on it. Well, I did paint color on it recently, so Get some more in his teeth. Okay, let me touch up the parts I got purple all over the place on. Not with purple though. Not focusing. Okay. It's pretty good. They'll look cool on the table. Okay, back to some, I'll let that dry because it's white. And then I'll put some shading on the teeth and then probably a little bit more. Well, actually I want to put the brown on there because it is not the part that I painted. And I'm going to put it low on the gum line because he's got gingivitis. It looks pretty good. May it be all I need to do. No, the tooth is this one because you can see here on the side, if it'll focus, it goes way back because of the injection molding. So I'll paint some color in there and hopefully that looks pretty good. Broken tooth, that is correct. Sit spill, absolutely the truth, Skinner Darkly. You have to have some, if you're using the contrast paints, they are so easy to spill. I mean, I really like the contrast paint, so I will put up with the craziness of these things. But eyedroppers are great. I will probably try to get, hey, look at that, I spilled some red right there. How did I do that? Somebody even noticed it. What did I do? Was it the, that is crazy, there you go. The blood of this stuff. Boy, it is bad. I don't even know how I did that. That is hilarious. Well, there you go. I spilled some paint. In the holder, no less. What the heck did I do? That is pretty hilarious. These paints are rough, man. I love them, but they are not great in that regard. I don't even know how I did that. I hope somebody can tell me what I did if you saw it. Is it down the side of the bottle? No. Did I lift, maybe when I lifted it up or something, I spilled it. What a mess. And it's red no less, the worst. Super bright stain. Okay, well that's off of there. Enough. But it's on my fingers now. I don't want to get it on any of the minis. I do have a... Sorry to curse you. I don't think you cursed me. I think it's just the nature of these paints. But I literally have since I've used this, I barely spilled anything, I think. So I'm not really sure what I did. I don't know. That is too funny. What the heck? Well, there you go. So you can see the danger of these paints. They're not easy. I do like that red, though. That is one of the newer reds. I really wonder how I got it out there. That's a lot. That was quite a bit of paint. Oh, well. Let's see what else we got here. I've got another 20 minutes or so. Let's get... Boy, I got paint all over me. That red stains, too. So I want to do those teeth, so I'm going to use the Basilicanum Gray. Hey, I'm going to use that paint holder. The cursed paint holder. What did I do? It is the truth, though. The paints are definitely... These especially. This is where the eyedroppers is probably pretty great. But I actually like getting the paint directly out of the pot. I don't know what to say for the contrast paints. I don't paint everything with that as far as meaning doing it at the full intensity of the paints. But maybe that's why they don't sell these holders anymore. They don't work. That's not true. They do work. I wish they still sold them. And they're expensive. I get it. People have justifiable reasons to be frustrated with it. But for the most part, they last for a long time for me. I'm not painting full armies, though. I mean, that's where you would run into potentially burning through your paints. We did get to play Disney's Animated on the cruise with Scott and a lady named Dawn, who was very cool. And we actually shot that for an episode. It will be an episode in a few weeks, next week. But it's a fun game. It's a cooperative game that we had a great time with. So Agrax again, let's see, is that right? It is. Nope, that's Nuln Oil. What do I want to put Nuln Oil on? Not that stuff. Maybe around the edge. I sealed it. I wish I knew what I did to get that red all over the place. That is just too funny. It is so hilariously bad. And it's the contrast paints are they flow very well, so that is part of the issue. Hey, Eat to Surf. I have a thing called, I use paint holders I got on Etsy from a guy named Mischief Maker. This is a sticker he sent along with it. I got one that's not rainbow. They're pretty great priced. I paid $30-some. If you buy them during a holiday time, they often have, they definitely have free shipping, but they sometimes discount them. This is one of the paint racks I have. Let me zoom out a wee bit. I really like these. They're fantastically designed. He makes, laser cuts them himself. So this is, does this fit GW? This might be the GW size one. It is. So now the problem is, of course, they're perfectly fine in the front here as far as height, but if you go for the underneath rack, which I don't think I have any in here. So the way these work is they have, in this one it's amazing, it holds 96 bottles. Now you can't do all the contrast paints because they are too tall. You can do them on the top racks, and if you pull the racks out, but what they do is they nest. Let me see here, here's another Citadel rack that I've got hybridized. No, this is not hybridized. Let me see if I can make this not be a mess. Hey, knocking stuff down. In a West End town. Okay. So you have to assemble them yourself. They are made out of MDF, so they're a little fragile. So you have to be cautious. But anyway, this is my Citadel contrast range here from yellow to brown, but it continues on the other rack, I think. Hey, it doesn't have anything in there. I must have pulled them all out because I wanted to keep them separate. So I could pull them out. I tuck them in here, but what's great is if you have them on your desk, but I don't have any of them in there. Where the heck are they? Boy, well anyway, here's two of them. Here's one. There's actually a larger one. Actually, that may be the nested rack I think about now. Yes, it is. So that was this one here I showed is the main one. I don't want to break that because I think they're a little fragile with the MDF. So anyway, this is the main one. Holds 8 times 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 48 paints here. And then you have this other one that nests inside of it. This goes inside here. Now, if I didn't have the tall bottles, it would fit perfectly fine. So if you use a regular Citadel, maybe he'll make an updated version with the new larger bottles that, you know, some of these have. So that's another 8 times 4, so another 32. Then you have these little tiny ones. I have 2 of them tucked away, or 3 of them tucked away, so I'll pull out the one that I don't have tucked away. I don't think I have anything in it. But then you have 2 of these. And they fit in there. You have 2 of them, and they hold another additional 18 between the 2 of them. It is amazing. I love them. I have them for, here's some of the ones that are holding the Vallejo ones. So this is the 2. So I think in that case, the Vallejo one, I cannot pull that one out. It holds a bunch of bottles. There's double stacked like this. So per level 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 times 4, so 52. Then an additional 10, 2 sets of 10, so that's 72. So it holds 72 paints. That's pretty amazing too, especially if you're into the Vallejo stuff. And then I have another one that's for like Tamiya paints. But let me see if I have any that are unencumbered by anything here. I think I put them aside because I bought more thinking I was going to be crazy and buy all those army painters. But give me just a second here. Let me see. I believe I have them tucked away back here in what is called the stacks, jokingly. So here's the, these are 2 that are undone. Okay. One of them actually has the pieces. I think I only have, I have 2 of the, great, just dropping it. I have 2 of the Vallejo and 2 of the, I have 2 of all of them. 2 of the Vallejo, 2 of the Citadel, and 2 of the Tamiya size ones. So here's the standard Tamiya one. Let me show you that. So this, you know, doesn't hold many, but bigger bottles. So 6 times 5, so 30, plus another 18, so 48. Pretty great. I don't think you can't. Well, maybe they fit smaller ones underneath here, but I don't think so. Let's see. No. So that's the extent of that. They're all about $25 to $35, I think. This is the Vallejo one. And then you put these inside. But Yeah, they don't seem to fit there either. I don't know. Maybe these are not the right size bottles. Could be older bottles. But let me just take that one out. It is an older bottle, so that's possible. But then it holds, you know, all those plus these. Plus it also has spots to hold your brushes and stuff like that. It's pretty great. I wonder, this is an older bottle. Maybe they've changed the size of the bottle, or it might not be totally in. It is a little taller. I don't know why. And then here's the Citadel. I mean the Tamiya with the. Oh, I showed you that. There you go. So those are those two, plus the Citadel one. The Citadel ones are all used. I actually am putting Pro Aquarel in that as well. They're pretty great. They are really relatively inexpensive, nicely made, and he is supposedly fantastic about helping if you have problems. So he sends you the instructions separately, I believe, an email with that. And if you break something, I believe he'll take care of it. I have cracked something on one of mine, but I just glued it because it's, some of these are, you know, it was one of the, there's a top and a bottom level here. Let me show you a little bit of that. And it's not these. Well, this does it sort of. So this has two lower levels and a upper level, and they're all the same. And I cracked one of these. It's this one right here. I cracked it and I just glued it in place. It was a lower level one. I wasn't too worried about it because it's not really holding it in place. And gluing it is perfectly fine. MDF glues very, very well. And it turns out pretty cool. The sticker, absolutely. This guy's name is Mischief Maker. There's a magnet here on this one. Mischief Maker. And he does minis and stuff as well, but I really like his stuff. I don't need to be supported, but I sure would love to be, just because I don't need any more racks. I'm trying not to buy any more paints, but it's really good. They're on Etsy and from Texas, and they're great. And they're fast. They also have brush stands that I use. And I mean, you basically get free shipping, I think, all the time, maybe if you go over $50. So I basically bought like one of the main kits and then one of these. I'll show you. I have several different ones. This one's the least loaded. But I love them because they're all pretty well made. But look at how many brush holes there are. And I think these are like $10 or something like that. So I think about two of these, the two different sizes of ones they have of these, and one of the main ones the first time I bought them. Now I just buy two sets because I knew I have one of my sets, one of my racks filled with a brand that is long gone, and I can't throw out the paints. They're all pretty good. I think they're called Adacolor, so I think they were a Canadian company. And the paints have been really good, so I don't toss them. But I filled one of the Vallejo / Army Painter size racks with that, because I had like 100 something paints, or whatever, 90 some paints. But I bought another one because I thought I might buy those Army Painter paints, and I've just decided to wait on that. I really don't want to buy any more paints than I need. Anyway, I hope that answers your question. I think they're wonderful. Very, very good stuff. No problem, Eat Surf. It is an absolute universal problem, and what I love is the nesting aspect, that you can just put it aside and then pull it all out. And you know, with GW, pulling out 96 paints seems like a pretty great level. There was Scott had one of the gosh, who was the maker? Broken Token paint racks. He did not glue them. I believe those were actually made with plywood, but it collapsed on me when I was at his place touching up one of his big sculptures that he has. There was like a bit of silver that had gotten chipped away. And the rack collapsed as I was pulling the paint out of it. Now, so that's a case for making, for gluing a little bit of glue when you're assembling it. So what I basically do is put it at the back end. I'll use it on this smaller one here. I put it back here so that, is this one actually glued? This one is not. So you put it in a little bit in the back corner, and then you slide, and then a little bit here. You slide them in place, and it'll hold it together. But yeah, these are very simple. The double, so this is the double stacked one I was thinking of. This one didn't split, but like if you broke one of them, you could always just take this one here and put it with this if you cracked it. But here's the tip: do not push on the curve, which I was trying not to do, but I think I had a real trouble getting that to seat. So you kind of need a little hammer to tap them in place. Push it on the edges. Don't push here because this is just going to collapse. And it wasn't, what was the one? I think it was the one I just showed. So it was this one. Why it broke so easily, I don't know, because it's thicker than the others. But just push from the edge and you can put it together. You don't have to glue it. It's pretty solid, but Scott's came apart and I was really surprised. But you can see there, laser burning. Now this is me shaving. I filed the edges for whatever reason on this. But it's not necessary. But they come generally in a, partly in the wood that you know, like together. So the holes are popped out, I believe, but the rest of it is stuck together. So you have to break them out of the sprue. I wish I had one that was unassembled. But they're great. I really like them, and they're relatively inexpensive. Paint's rolling everywhere. It was pretty bad. So it was like I just pulled on the one side, and it kind of like yanked it out. I think I actually glued that for him. So I was like, I'm like, you can't do this. I believe I put that together. I'm going to go back out there in August, so I'll make sure it's fixed then. Anyway, let's switch to the, I think it's after 12:30. Let me switch cameras. Yeah, there we go. So I think that'll be it for the day. I will be painting again next Thursday, but I might, if I have time, I'm going to try to have a little bit more time. I might stream some more painting for fun. But I really, there's a lot of good stuff. Actually, that's one thing I didn't even talk about when I was talking about on the stream. Again, don't buy too many paints if you're starting out. If you have a lot of paints to deal with, then I think the Mischief Maker ones are great. Broken Tokens are actually nice because they are using plywood, I believe, instead of MDF. But I'm not beating these things up, right? Other than assembling them. And I think that MDF is perfectly fine. You know, it's made out of the scraps from making wood. So, or recycled bits of wood, pulped, you know. But it's great. The racks are really helpful, and I love the fact that they can hold brushes as well. Like you could really you could tuck a whole bunch of stuff in a small space and then pull it out when you need it and expand them by unnesting the racks. And I actually have underneath here behind my, I have a little confidence monitor here that I have tucked to the other GW ones. So I have my shades down there, all the tall bottles, because the very tallest bottles like these will not fit once you put, for sure, and these don't really either. It's really these it was designed for. So you can see how there's a problem. So I don't actually nest, I guess I don't nest, the ones do, so it must have been smaller bottles. I nested one of my GW racks, but the other one is all broken out. So like I said, one of them is here to the right, and then the two small ones are, the three different small ones, there's two, are behind camera here, so, or behind the monitor. But the other ones work great, other than for whatever reason that one tall bottle of Vallejo. I wonder why. It really is about a millimeter or two taller than the others. That is very weird. Anyway, I didn't actually try to tuck them in, so it didn't matter. That was just, I use my inks often, and that's actually a pretty great gold too, by the way. I was airbrush one. Polished gold, it's pretty good. Anyway, let's see, we'll be back. Nikki and I are going to stream on Thursday evening, and we will be streaming some games. And I will clean up my mess of spilled ball red there. That's pretty bad. And, you know, hopefully you guys have a good week. If you can join us on Thursday, we'll be on at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. It'll be hot here in Southern California. It's actually finally gotten hot, unfortunately for us. I mean, it's not bad. I like it warmer too, but goodness gracious, it's going to be warm. And then look forward to our SDJ coverage. So this coming Thursday, we'll put out the 2 discussion videos. That'll be both the Kinderspiel, and then that'll be one video. And then we have the SDJ and the Kennerspiel in another discussion video. There are 8 of us discussing that, so let's see how much chaos that is. And then we will also put out the final 2 games that we played, which are, is that correct? Actually, it's 1. It was going to be both Fun Facts and Next Station London, but I had to put Fun Facts out because I had a technical problem with one of my episodes that I couldn't render it. I did since fix all that right before I left for the trip, so all that's working now. But we'll put those 3 videos out on Thursday. Check out and see what we think might and should get nominated, and what, I mean, excuse me, not nominated, but win. And they're going to announce those on Sunday, the 16th. I think it's 6 p.m. Central European time. So you know that's like 9 a.m. West Coast. But they will be live streaming, and maybe that'll be on the front page of the BGG. I don't know. And then everybody have a great week, and stay cool if it's warm where you're at. And I will talk to you all later. Bye, everybody. Oh wait, we're gonna stream. We will stream. Not stream, but raid. If you're on, I'm not on that panel, of course. It shows you how much when I don't use it. It says it's Stream Manager. But we'll see if there's somebody to raid. Rado was yesterday. So let's see what we got here. Minecraft. Oh, Time Roller. Let's go raid Time Roller. I don't know what he's playing. So say hello for me, and if you're on YouTube, I'm sorry you can't join us. If you want to join in on the raid, click through and say hello. It'll grow his audience. Bye, everybody. Well, we say that, but it's a couple more seconds. There we go. Bye. Oh, wow, it didn't go. Wow. Let's try it one more time. Maybe he's blocking it. Let's see. I don't do this very often, as you can tell. 1 viewer ready to raid. I think we did it. Bye, everybody.